My screen's just going bloop, 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 bloop. So, all right, here we go. I see that we are now there. All right, cool. Well, folks, thanks for being here. It is Wednesday night, episode 82 of Elk Talk Live. And we did have a little glitch 1 minute before we were ready to fire up. Kyler says, oh no, the camera just died, or the computer just died. I'm like, come on, you're killing me. Anyhow, we're going to talk tonight about how you can use a $1,000 budget to apply in multiple Western states. And some of you have challenged me and said, look, Randy, I don't have a lot of money to go elk hunting, so I really can't do it. And I'm here to show you that if you save a little bit, and I'm not discounting that $1,000 is a chunk of money, but if you start building a little slush fund, like I did when I started, pretty soon you'll be able to do 3 or 4 states, and then a 5th state, and then a 6th state, on and on. So anyhow, I want to thank Onyx Maps for making Elk Hunt Live, go live. You can tell it's been a long day around here. But Onyx Maps, go to onyxmaps.com, use promo code Randy and save 20%, right? And then all the other normal sponsors we always talk about that make this free, loophole.com, bowtech.com, tight spot, ripcord, you name it. All right, Jacob says, hey, I've been waiting for this one. All right, so we'll see. We also got to talk about Rocky Mountain hunting calls. I just saw the new list of stuff. They got 21 new calls that came out this year, and they're all going to be ready next week. Go to RockyMountainHuntingCalls.com, use promo code Randy, and save 15%. GerberGear.com, use promo code Randy, save 20%. We should just have that as a sidebar over here, Kyler. You working on that? Mm-hmm. That way I don't have to talk about all this. And then GoHunt.com, use promo code Randy, save $50 in their gear shop, and get in the running for a Wyoming Commissioner's Tag. We got that Commissioner's Tag last week, so now we know we got it. So, all right. We're going to talk about, if you had $1,000, how many states could you apply for in the West? And you could apply for more than I'm going to give you, but I'm talking about the ones I think are the best value for the traveling non-resident hunter. And that's going to be Arizona, Wyoming, New Mexico. And then I'm going to have my fallback option of either Idaho or Wyoming if I don't draw one of my other 3. So here's how it's going to work. The Arizona deadline comes along in early February, and you're going to buy your non-resident license, and you're going to apply, which is going to cost you another $15. So between those two, you're into it $175, gone. So now you're down to $825. Well, New Mexico comes along, and that deadline is after you've found out about Arizona. Well, New Mexico says you have to apply and buy a $65 non-resident hunting license. And then if you apply for the really high demand ones, they're going to charge your credit card $760. So that's another, what is that, $825. Boom, there's your $1,000 out the window. So you're going to have to sit there and wait and say, well, did I draw in Arizona? No, but I got a point for next year. New Mexico doesn't have a point system. So you wait, oh, dang, I didn't draw. I got $740 some of my money back from New Mexico, assuming you applied for the really expensive outcomes. So now you're back here with your $740 and you're thinking, well, how do I spend that? Well, you want to carve a piece of it aside, like $50 and whatever Wyoming might increase their point fee to. And you're going to buy a point in Wyoming. So let's just round it to $50. That $50 comes out of your pocket. So you go from $825 let's see. You had $825, you gave $760 of it to New Mexico. We should put this diagram up there so you can follow along what I'm doing. But So now when you get your refund from New Mexico, you're back up there where you got about high $700, almost $800. You set your $50 aside for Wyoming. You're still dealing with at least $700 left of your pool of money. Well, the fallback options are, depending on what Idaho does with their fee increases, you got to buy your non-resident hunting license in Idaho, which is going to cost you about $155, something like that, $160. And their elk tag right now is only like $420 something. So you add those two together and it's $575. So you do all of that and you've still got a little bit of money left over and you're going elk hunting. So here's what you would do in Idaho. Idaho's the last state out of the gate. So you go buy their license and you know you're going elk hunting, so apply for one of their controlled hunts, one of their really hard to draw hunts. That'll cost you another $5. And then if you don't draw, you've got the general tag, so you are going elk hunting. So maybe next week we'll have the whole diagram laid out of how you do this, but that is how you could take $1,000 budget. So I'm thinking, what do I blow on coffee or eating out or whatever each month? If I scaled back some of that, or I maybe sold some of my stuff in my closet that I never use, or I can think of a lot of ways I could, over the course of a year, build up $1,000 budget. That's why I picked that number. But when it's all said and done, I applied in Arizona, and if I didn't draw, I got a point. I got a point in Wyoming, building a few points until some year I know I have enough points to go. I applied in New Mexico, no point system there, so what the heck, I may as well apply. And when I got my money back from New Mexico, I applied in Idaho, or actually bought a license and tag in Idaho because they're over the counter. Now, if you live closer to Colorado, maybe you'd make Colorado your over the counter option rather than Idaho. So if I lived in Washington, Oregon, California, I'd probably use Idaho as my over the counter option. If I lived somewhere in the Midwest, or say Texas or somewhere, I'd probably use Colorado as my over-the-counter option. So that's how you can do it. So all of you who have sent me messages and emails and other stuff asking how could I go do this without having a whole gunny sack full of money, that's how. And then in future episodes, we'll talk about how you can save a ton of money on the hunt itself. We did an article probably 7 or 8 years ago, back before some of the states had increased their license fees. And it was called, I think it was the $1,500 elk hunt or the $1,000 elk hunt. And it was how you and a few hunting friends could jump in your rig and go to Colorado. And if you split costs and weren't extravagant, did a lot of the stuff on your own, brought your meals from home, you could go and do an elk hunt for under $1,000. So I know $1,000 is still a chunk of money, but it shows that there is no doubt that you can do an elk hunt for a reasonable price. So, I mean, I think about some of the stupid things I spend money on. And if that means I could go elk hunting rather than spend money on some of those foolish things, I'd do it. I mean, my wife doesn't spend money on any foolish thing. We have the discussion and I lose the debate all the time. My purchases are foolish, hers are necessary. Just don't argue with your wife about that. So, let's see. Let me look at some of these questions. Oh, someone says Arizona will start drawing tags on Friday. Yeah, if you applied in Arizona, credit cards are going to start getting hit on Friday. Not tomorrow, but the next day. How cool is that, huh? Yeah, so. Do I ever do antelope talk live? No, I don't. We do elk talk. So I hunt a lot of antelope. I love hunting antelope, but I want to focus here mostly on things related to elk hunting. So if you ask a question and I don't get to it, I'm sorry about that. But also if you ask a question that is not hunting related or not elk hunting related, I'll probably not get to that one either. So. Are we over on Instagram also, Kyler? That's where these other questions are I'm telling you, the guy's on top of it. He's over there watching the Instagram feed on his phone, and he's copy and pasting those to a Word doc here or a Google doc, and he sends them to me. So I'm looking like, Oh, all right. Someone says, Idaho over-the-counter tags, good or bad? Good. Their deer herds have taken a pretty serious hit because of hard winters. Up north, what used to be some of their best elk hunting ground have been pretty hard hit by habitat change, by wolves, by predators, stuff like that. So those numbers are not where they should be. But you start getting in eastern Idaho, southern Idaho, some of the central Idaho areas, and it's pretty darn good. I'm going to Idaho this year on an over-the-counter archery elk hunt. So unless some really crazy tag lands on my lap that interferes with that, me and my buddy Bo Beatty and his llamas are going, and I'm throwing an invitation to my buddy Kurt over at Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, since he's an Idaho resident. Hey, you ought to tag along with us. So I think that, yeah, Idaho's got some really good elk hunting. And now here's what all the Idaho guys say. Oh, there's nothing here. Move along, nothing to see here. And it's it's kind of funny how people say that. And the beauty of Idaho is they don't have a point system. So if I decide I want to apply there, it doesn't matter how many points I do or don't have, because there is no point system. So do I put in for elk tags in Kentucky? Yes, I do. I apply there every year. I think it's $10 to apply. And then if I remember right, it's sometime in early May is the deadline. And it's like $10. That's a raffle ticket that is worth every bit of it if I were lucky enough to draw. Randy, have you applied in New Mexico yet? Yes, I have, because the New Mexico deadline is coming up, if I remember right, March 18th. I should know that, but off the top of my head, I forgot it. But yeah, I've already done my New Mexico application. Let's see. Do I clean my rifle before going elk hunting, or do I leave it dirty from the last time I shot it? Once I get my rifle sighted in, and I should say rifles because we have all kinds of them, I get them all dialed in. I'm shooting them all summer, and when I feel that they're ready to go, all I do is I take a brush through there, push it through, or if you have one of the cable ones, pull it through, and I just run something through there dry. I'm not using any bore cleaner, any solvent, anything like that. During hunting season, it's getting just pushed through with a dry patch. So, and then I don't mess with it after that. Would you recommend hunting the Bitterroot, Montana range for elk? I've never hunted it myself, so I can't really say. A lot of people say it's pretty good. I know in the valley, it's a lot of private, and a lot of those elk get stacked up on the private. So, not really sure. Other than if you look at the harvest stats, it looks pretty good based on the harvest stats. Any chance to win a hunt with you this year? You know, people are talking about that, and we still haven't figured out if we're going to do it or when we're going to do it. But the Elk Foundation wants me to do it. And if they want me to do things, I usually try to do whatever I can to help them. So let's say, for long range shot on elk, say 800 plus yards, do you think a 338 Lapua is good? Just bought a rifle chambered in that and itching to use it. I don't shoot at it. Elk out at 800 plus yards. I'm sure it would do the trick, but the guys here know that for us, we're about getting as close as we can. So it's, well, for elk, we try to get under 400 yards, preferably under 300 yards. I don't have a rifle that I do long range shooting with, so I'm really not the guy. Jonathan is asking, hey, I just joined. Did you say what truck you bought? No, I haven't. So we're in the search for a new truck. That's where that topic came up. How's the elk population in Arizona? It is excellent. They manage, and that's one thing you'll see this year. I want to talk about how Arizona manages elk. They fly it every year. They have surveys that they have of the harvest data. They have surveys of hunters and their success rates, you know, bull, cow, all that harvest data stuff. But they fly and survey the bull to cow ratios and the cow to calf ratios. And they take that information and they run it through their models and they adjust the tag numbers. This year, in some units, they dropped the tag numbers by a third. Why? Because that process told them the numbers are coming down. Well, let's throttle back the harvest and let the number bounce. They have their ranges of what they think is the high level and what they have as the low level, and they try to keep them within there. And it's really, really good the way Arizona does it, and that's why they have really, really quality elk hunting. If you told me that I could hunt Arizona elk every year, but I couldn't hunt elk anywhere else every year, sign me up. But it's been a few years since I've had an Arizona elk tag. I'm hoping this year I might, but I looked at my draw odds. I was out on Go Hunt on their Insider looking at what my draw odds are for the Arizona tag I applied for. I think my first choice is 10%, and my second choice is like 12%. So odds are I'm probably going to go a few more years without an Arizona elk tag, but that's all right. If that's the worst problem of my life. Oh, Mike says, who makes the hat that I'm wearing? All right, where's my Big Hank logo? Right here. So this right here is Big Hank. And Kyler in the crew came up with this hat design because I'm always talking about Big Hank, right? So we got a promo going. If you go out to shoprandynewberg.com? Okay, Kyler's going to put the link up there. But if you go out there and you want to buy my wife's really cool t-shirt, right, I got to give a plug for my wife. If you hook them, you cook them. There's Big Hank t-shirts, Big Hank hats. Use promo code Randy when you check out and they'll give you 10% off. We don't sell them here. We have a group that does all this for us, but we tell them, you know, when we decide we're going to do a promo with Randy, you're going to give them a discount. So, all right. I'm intending to go on a post-rut elk hunt in Montana. Do you think post-rut hunt is a reasonable idea? This is really good. So post-rut would be late October. If you go to Montana opening weekend, that's your best chance in the post-rut period. Yeah, it's going to be crowded. Look at it, it's like, oh yeah, it was chugging along and then we had a blip. Well, if it was a blip, maybe what this guy just said, ooh, maybe that's the year I want to be back out there because now I have a whole age class where more of them made it through there. Or whatever it might be. Maybe it was a really hard winter, you know, the other way. A really hard early winter came and success rates were through the roof. Well, that might be just because of a hard winter, and do I want to bank on the fact that, oh, next year is also going to be an early winter, hard early winter, when it only happens once every 8 years? Nah. So, yeah, it's a good, I usually don't give that information out, but that's a really good one. I pay close attention to that. Uh-oh, hey Kyler, these guys are saying the video froze. Huh? So, let's see, what do we got? This is from Instagram. What state has the earliest over-the-counter season? Probably Idaho or Utah. And it depends on if you're going archery or going rifle. So it'd be Colorado, Idaho, or Utah. And it depends on the weapon type. So go to their regulations, look at it on the website, and it'll tell you which of those three are the earliest. What's my maximum range when I'm bow hunting for elk? 40 yards. I don't have my new setup here with a sight on it, but I have 3 pins, 20, 30, 40. And I out at my house, I have a range where it's out to 70 yards. And I shoot out to 70 all the time, just trying to, okay. But when you shoot at 70, 30 seems really easy, right? But now I'm not shooting at an elk at 70 yards. Some people can do it, I'm not one of them. And if I don't feel I'm the person who can do it, I have no business shooting that far. What would you recommend for an all-around pack? Probably the one I use. I've been using the Mystery Ranch Metcalf since it came out, and it's just the best pack I've found for what I do. And if you're interested in a Mystery Ranch Metcalf, and you go to Go Hunt and buy it from their gear shop, and you check out of the gear shop and use promo code Randy, they'll give you 10% off. So the whole goal here is every partner we have needs to have an investment in our audience. And they're all excited to make an investment in our audience. So that's why we're always talking about promo codes and discounts. So you're supporting us, and they are hopefully supporting you. Do I have any tips for Unit 62 Colorado elk? So I'm going to pull this question up and say why that's such a hard question to answer. Okay, are you archery hunting, or are you muzzleloader hunting, or are you rifle hunting? Are you hunting public, or are you hunting private? Are you hunting bulls? Are you hunting cows? So a general question like that is really hard for us to answer here, but the other answer to that one, Clay, is I've not hunted that unit, so I wouldn't have any tips. But when someone asks a really vague question, it's hard for us to grab that one to answer. What grain bullet do I shoot in my 300 Win Mag? I shoot Noslers, 180 grains, either AccuBonds or E-tips, mostly E-tips out of my 300. So let's see. Would you suggest buying a preference point in Montana while applying for the non-resident big game combo tag? We just shot the video for that yesterday. It'll be up on our YouTube channel here pretty soon. In prior years, I would have said no. 2 years ago, I would have said, no, it's not worth that. I think it's $50 to buy the preference point. But the last 2 years, the Montana elk tag and the Montana, and that's a general elk tag, and the Montana elk deer general combo tag, where you get both a deer and an elk tag, it's been taking a point to guarantee that you're going to get the tag. Yeah, some people are drawing with 0 preference points, but now I'm telling people, since the demand with the good economy and everything happening, the demand's higher, maybe it's worth the $50 to buy that preference point. So then next year you're going to get the tag. So it's whether or not you want to pay $50 extra, because forever 1 point would get you that tag. And in a lot of years, 0 points would still get you the tag. And I think last year it was about 50% with 0 points. So if you want to go from 50% to 100%, buy the point. What are my thoughts on CWD? I got a lot of thoughts on CWD, but mostly I rely on what the experts say. It cracks me up when hunters give, what I'll say, non-professional trained biologists and scientists who are hunters, when they give all their opinions in this and that. There's a lot going on out there with CWD. It's certainly an issue we have to take care of and think about how we manage. I don't know how we're going to manage it, but it's definitely an issue. How did the Cooper tires hold up for you? Great. 2 seasons on them, just tore the bejeebers out of that truck, and tires are still really, really good. Let's see. Which state should I start building points for rifle hunting bulls? I'm 30. For me, if it's building points, the first 2 are kind of the example I went through earlier in the it froze. This is not good. As quick as it freezes, I'm looking at the number who are watching, and it goes choom. Sorry about that, folks. We're having something going on with our computer here and our internet connection. Kyler's about ready to lose his job. My wife says he did such a good job last week, she had me bring him donuts, and I don't know what the deal is. How many points did I have in Utah when I drew my bison tag? 19. Why am I getting a... We'll see. That's why. I don't know. So we'll just go to Instagram questions while people are patiently trying here. All right, what rain gear do I recommend? The best you can afford, because when you need rain gear, you need rain gear. And so whatever that is, I like the breathable stuff. A lot of people, if you go to Alaska, everybody's wearing like the PVC stuff, right? But if you're really exerting yourself, that stuff doesn't breathe. And so through perspiration and sweat, you end up as wet on the inside as if you didn't have any rain gear. So I'm a big fan of the breathable rain gear, and the breathable rain gear that I use is Sitka Gear's Stormfront system. What trekking poles do I use? I use Leaky, whatever you hear them called, all different things, L-E-K-I. I use their cork lights, and I use the aluminum ones. I don't use the carbon ones. But I can assure you that if you use some sort of trekking pole, you'll never hunt the mountains again without a trekking pole. So, all right, Kyler, you got us back up and running here. What was the problem, my friend?
I don't know, it just keeps restarting.
All right. I'd hate to see you get fired, but all right. Let's see. Randy, will there be another black bear hunt series this spring? Yep, there will be, but it's probably going to be, I know it's for sure going to be in Alaska. We might find time to do one in Montana, but have I ever hunted the San Carlos Reservation in Arizona? Nope, I haven't. Have I ever hunted Colorado Unit 74 and 75? Nope, I haven't. How often would you say you use the OnX app? You mean like in how many times a day? It's crazy how often we use that. A lot. So, someone says, I will watch this later without all the buffering. I don't know if they'll be able to do that. So, Miranda says, is that cap one of the new RMEF caps? Nope. This is the Big Hank Randy Newberg shop.randynewberg.com hat where you can get 10% off. So, ever elk hunted in Nevada? Yep, I did. I drew a tag in Unit 221, 22, and 223. Those units south of Ely. Oh man, that was good. If Nevada, how appropriate is it that the draw odds in Nevada are like going to the craps table? No, even worse thing. It's like going to the roulette table and betting on 0-0. No, it's even worse than those odds. But like Nevada, if you luck out and you're the winner, the payoff is really big. So, oh man, I love Nevada. It's really, really great. Let's see, what else we got going here on Instagram? Oh, for glassing elk, 10 by 42 or 10 by 50? Not even a question, 10 by 42. Lighter, elk are bigger animals. You don't usually need quite the field of view. And just the bigger objective lens is a lot more weight. And when I'm mountain or elk hunting, I'm usually in the mountains. And that can be where weight is a little sensitive. All right, which is better, 7mm Remington mag or 6.5 Creedmoor? I'm assuming that this is an elk discussion. I'm going with the 7mm mag every time. Every time. Not saying that a 6.5 won't kill one. I have 4 6.5 Creedmoors, but I'm not taking them elk hunting when I have 308s, 300 Win mags, other stuff. So, what is my favorite Sitka jacket to wear? People who watch our content know that my uniform, my elk hunting uniform, is my Sitka Jetstream jacket with my Sitka pants, the Timberline pants. So, archery elk or archery mule deer? Archery elk. I love them both, but there is just something about this bull coming in and his eyes rolled back and just, whew, it gets you excited. If that doesn't get you excited, the odds are you probably don't have a pulse. Now people are saying don't fire you, Kyler. Earlier they were just yelling for your head on a pike here. Have I thought of coming out to hunt Roosevelt elk? Yes, I have. If my son Matthew would get with the program and get that sorted out now that he lives in Oregon, I'd be there. I might be there anyhow. Heck with him. All right, Randy, I'm going to be in Montana near Butte this fall doing a non-resident general rifle elk hunt. What week would you recommend I come? I would go either the first weekend or sometime after November 10th. Depends on how you like your hunting to go. Last year we got a ton of snow just before season started, and opening weekend was miserable. But man, you talk about elk coming out of the hills. It was opening weekend. I wasn't even here, but the number of elk that I was getting pictures. I'm down in Wyoming deer hunting. I'm just getting picture after picture of friends shooting elk opening weekend. I was like, wow, I should be home. What's the maximum elevation for elk during a general rifle season, say near Bozeman? There really is no maximum elevation. It depends on the snow level. It depends on all kinds of things. If the snow level, say we get early snows in September and October, they're not going to be much above probably 8,500 feet. If it's an open, warm October, they might be up over 9,000 feet. So it's, again, a lot of this stuff is, it's so situational and so specific, it's a little bit hard to answer with a lot of precision, and I don't try to be vague. It's just, it's just hard. So Ray says, Randy, why don't you just read off all the sponsors that allow you to use promo code Randy? All right, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Gerber, Go Hunt, OnX. I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Randy Newberg, swag, all this stuff. So, yeah. When in doubt, use promo code Randy. Let's see. New to elk hunting. How do I track down bull elk during rifle season in Idaho? Have I hunted in Idaho? No, I've not. I will this year, it looks like. How do you track one down? Very hard to track them down. For a rifle season, those are later in the year, that's a glassing game. Be comfortable glassing. And then when you see them, figure out what's the best approach. Go make that approach. And I tell people that when you find an elk in rifle season, I think they're way easier to kill once you find them than, say, a mule deer. Somehow those big old mule deer, they just sneak away and you never see them. Very seldom does that happen with an elk. So that's why I do a lot of glassing. Once I find them in rifle season, they're in serious danger. Now, in archery season, yeah, it's all about the setup, and so many things can go wrong that I'm not gonna claim to have high success rates with archery setups. Elk setups, when we see them, odds are one of them's coming home on our backs or on the llamas. Would you buy a point rather than put in for a tag after a hard winter? It depends on the state. I usually look at it as, rather than buy points, I'm applying. I'm going to throw my name in that hat. And if I don't draw, I'll get a point. Now, if I have a messed up schedule and I already have some tags I know that would conflict with it, yeah, then I might buy a point. But usually I'm applying. If you don't have your name in the hat, you can't draw. That's one thing I know for sure. Tule elk, have I hunted them? No, I haven't. That's a California subspecies that, boy, I'll probably never hunt them because I don't even apply. The odds are so small, and the cost for non-resident, I don't even know if they give away a non-resident Tule tag. But the cost to buy the license and everything else I have a hard time justifying that. Do I need a spotting scope to be successful elk hunting? No, you don't, but it helps, especially in rifle seasons. Archery season, I don't even carry my spotting scope. Rifle season, I do carry my spotting scope, but lots and lots of people hunt elk without a spotting scope, and they shoot a lot of elk without a spotting scope. So, let's see, what was that one? Randy, can you elaborate on how a weighted point system works for hunt draws? Well, there's not such a thing as a weighted point system. There's either preference points or there are bonus points. Preference points is the person with the most points applying for that hunt code, they're going to get the tag. So You have 10 points and you're the highest point holder, you're going to get a tag. And if there are any left, they go down to the people with 9 points. And if everyone there gets a tag and there's any left, then the people at 8 points might get a tag. A bonus point system is like buying raffle tickets, okay? You buy 10 raffle tickets, I buy 1. Doesn't mean you're going to win. It just means you have 10 times the probability of getting your name pulled than I do. So a bonus point system is every year you're unsuccessful and get awarded a bonus point, you get an extra random number. Some states like Montana and Nevada, they square your points. So if you have 20 points, you get 400, not 20. So it's heavily skewed towards the high point holders. Personally, even though I've got tons of points in lots and lots of states, I would walk away from all of those points if the states would get rid of the point systems. And I'm saying that even as someone who's sitting on maximum points for moose and sheep in Montana, 20 points for a lot of those species in Arizona and Nevada. You know what? Get rid of these point systems. They don't work. What's the farthest you shoot with your 308? Out at the range, most of my practice is out 450 yards, but I've never shot an elk. Never shot at an elk at 450 yards. Trying to think. Yeah, so I'm really not into long distances. For me, hunting, whether it's archery or rifle, is about getting closer, making sure that when I pull that trigger or I release that arrow, I'm sure that animal is going to end up in my freezer. So the closer I get, the better it is. When is my birthday? I'm not telling. Let's see. All right, here's a good question. It kind of does with our e-scouting. If you've seen the e-scouting series that we've done with OnX, I think that's 12 episodes out on right here in this channel. And if you haven't already, down here in the corner, you can subscribe and you'll turn on notifications and you'll get automatically notified when we go live here. But if you go to that channel and just type in e-scouting, all those videos will come up. But so this question is from Evan. For your first day, your scouting day, if you had 3 hunt areas, do you glass into the areas from the roads and hills, or do I hike all the miles into each area? It depends a little bit about, okay, what's the wind approach going to be both when I'm coming in and when I go in there hunting. If I got a screwed up wind, I'm probably going to glass it from far away. If I feel in some other way that I might mess up the elk by going in there, I'm probably going to stay and glass from far away. But sometimes I have to walk in there in ways to get to what I have as my glassing knob. So say there's a big drainage that forks out this way, that way, and that way. And over here there's a kind of a face where it's cleared off, a rock ledge. That's where I'm going to glass from. Well, sometimes I have to at least get to there just so I can see how my glassing is going to work. And I might get there sometimes if I'm scouting and say, you know what, this is not as good of a glassing spot as I thought it was. Maybe I should go to this little slope right over here that has a little avalanche chute, and that's cleared. I can glass. I can see these drainages better. So sometimes my scouting is scouting what are the best glassing locations. The middle of the day, I know there aren't going to be any elk out there. They're going to be bedded. So if I take a hike in there a mile just to check out the glassing spots, that's a good use of my time, because I'm probably not going to scare anything out of there if I stay far enough away, but I can climb in there and say, all right, yep, this is where I want to glass from. And if that's the case, then on my way out, I put my OnX on track mode, and I use the daylight hours to find the easiest path out of there, save that track, and then when I got to come in the dark the next day, I just follow the track and it takes me right to where I want to be. So there's a lot of value in going and doing that stuff before season opens. Because if you say you're a weekend guy, or you only have 4 days or 5 days, and you don't have any time to scout, and you say, oh, yeah, that's where I want to glass. So you go in there, your opening morning, and you get there and you're like, this is a waste of time. Why did I pick this as my glassing spot? Well, there goes at least one morning of your hunt, probably your best morning of the hunt. I try to sort that stuff out well before the hunting time starts. Let's see. Randy, is the weak winter we are having in Montana going to play a part in how you hunt elk this year? Possibly. It depends. You know, if you have a weak winter, sometimes we end up in a drought cycle. And I hunt elk differently if we've had a summer drought than if we've had a really strong winter that carries a lot of moisture through the summer, gets the grass growing. And that's why I say possibly it will affect how I hunt this year, but not certainly. I don't want to say for sure. And just a lot can happen between now and hunting season. So we have a weak winter, but say we have a really wet summer, and this applies for any state. But in Montana, the example here, we're having a pretty mild winter. Well, what if we have a really wet summer? That's going to change a whole lot of things. So a lot goes on between now and then where I'm just not going to pick one reason based on what I see in the winter. It's going to be part of the consideration, but it's not going to be the only consideration. What would be the best over-the-counter state for elk? Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but I'll go back into it again. Is your two options that I think are your best over-the-counter options are Idaho and Colorado. It's a toss-up. It depends on where you live, whether you archery hunt or rifle hunt. Other states that have over-the-counter would be Oregon, but if you live in Missouri, you're going to drive up through all this elk country to go and hunt some pretty crowded hunting over-the-counter in Oregon? Probably not. Utah has over-the-counter. A lot of those are spike only or archery only, and there's a whole series of hunts there, but they're pretty crowded again. So that's why I kind of stick to Idaho and Colorado as what I think are the best value and the best chances. So let's see. Trying to read some of these. Chris is asking, do you shoot for elk a Revolt or a Revolt X? That's he's asking about the new bows from Bowtech. I have one each, so it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Just really depends on what you like, not what I like. How heavy are my arrows? Total arrow weight for elk is going to be at 500 plus or minus a little bit. So I shoot a pretty heavy arrow, but I don't think it's exceptionally heavy. I've shot bison with that same arrow setup, so if it'll kill a bison and go way in and penetrate, it'll do it with an elk easy. Is Fresh Tracks on Amazon Prime Video? It is. Seasons 2 through 7 are up there right now, and probably in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see season 8 starting to go. And I've been looking at the episodes. The guys have been working so hard on the episodes for the upcoming season. We're a little bit ahead of the schedule, so we really have worked hard at it. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. So, lead versus copper bullets, what are the pros and cons? Everyone's going to have a different way of what they say is a pro or what is a con to lead bullets. I really like the lead or the copper bullets, or non-lead, I should call them. I use the Nosler E-tips on elk, and they perform ridiculously well. I mean, really, really well. So I've had nothing but great success with them, and so I have no problem recommending people shoot non-lead ammo. And the only ones I've shot are the Nosler E-tips. So I can't talk about the other ones. I don't really know. Let's see. Ever hunt north central New Mexico? Units 51, 52, or 53? Yep, I have. Hey Randy, what's your favorite way to eat elk? Is there a special recipe that you often use? Not really. I'll marinade a tenderloin or a backstrap, and I don't cut them into steaks. I like roasts about that long, and I grill. This sounds weird, right? Take a piece of backstrap about that long, and I grill it as a roast. And then I bring it in and I cut it up into the little steaks after I've grilled the backstrap as one big piece. I do the same with the tenderloin. I eat a lot of burger. A lot of spaghettis, chilies, a lot of stew, lasagna. Yeah, My wife is such a great cook. Makes it easy to eat a lot of elk when your wife is a really good cook like mine is. I'm not sure. We're getting more on the Instagram feed here. There's some funny ones here. The Instagram people, you guys have a lot of comedy to your comments. I don't think I'm going to answer that one. If you purchase a point for the year 2020, can you use it for the draw in 2020? No. When you're buying a point, it's always for the next year. So, let's see. Oh, if you want to also get notified about when we're going live, if you text Randy to the number 64600, you'll get notified that we're going live. Let's see. Have I ever hunted Colorado units 34, 25, 26? Nope, I haven't. How do I physically prepare for elk season? Not very well. I drive a desk for a living this time of year, but I hike. That's all I do. I'm not a gym rat. I joke that I go to the office, I do a few tax returns, in the afternoon I go for a 2 to 3 hour hike, I come home, and then my wife and I go to Dairy Queen. That's that really is my workout. That's my routine. And a lot of people like to give me grief about that, but oh well, that's oh, here's a really good question. I wish I had it with me. We got a pair of Canopy boots around here anywhere? The person's asking, Randy, how do you keep your boots from freezing on a backpack hunt? Do we got any hand warmers around here? I should have brought my backpack and done a pack dump here and brought my Canopy boots. So, dang, I don't have a boot. So, your Canopy?
Yeah.
Really? All right, so I wear old man shoes, right? That's what people call these mocks. So, this is your boot, all right? So, what you do, you take it off at night and you pull the liner out. I have custom-made orthotics. So, I don't have a liner, I have a custom-made orthotic. But pull your liner out because it's damp. Put that liner in your sleeping bag with you and just cook it dry with your body heat. Then prop your boot up like this, and then you take those little hand warmer packs that you put in your glove and you put it right down in the toe. And for the next 6 to 8 hours, the heat from that is going to rise up out of here, and as it does it, it's going to pull all the moisture out of there. And then your boots aren't going to be frozen, they're going to be dry as dry gets in the morning. No charge for that tip. So many people ask me, how do your feet never get cold? Cold feet and cold hands, unless you have Raynaud's disease, cold feet and cold hands are mostly a function of not understanding what causes cold feet and cold hands. Moisture that causes evaporation is the #1 reason for cold feet and cold hands. Exposure, surface area, right? Why do I always wear mittens and not gloves? Look at how much surface area you have when you have a glove compared to a mitten. Easy. Feet, dry socks, fresh socks. Rotate your socks in the middle of the day. Coat your boots so that water doesn't get in them. Wear a gaiter so that when you wear a gaiter, if this is the top of your boot right here, right, you're walking through the snow and you have like this little, I'm going to call it a microclimate, but it's a little warmer right here. So that snow is hitting that and it's melting and it's melting. And here's the top of your sock underneath there. Well, that moisture is hitting the top of your sock and it's wicking down into your boot. Wear a gaiter. They're just little things that really will help your boots and your feet while you're out. Can we talk about that skull that's on your desk? This is a wolf skull from Montana this last November. The one day, it was my birthday, and my wife said, you should go hunting today without cameras. For 12 years, you've never went without cameras. So I did. And what happens? I run into a wolf, and we're going to eat it. If any of you know a wildlife disease veterinarian, let me know. I keep saying I'm going to get the meat tested because canines are known to have some crazy things. But we're definitely gonna get after it. That wolf he's gonna get eaten. So don't worry about that. Where can I get some of those leather mittens? Frost River Trading Company, Duluth, Minnesota. Let's see, what is this one? Safe to say, if I stumble into very fresh beds in a post-rut Arizona elk hunt, the big boys won't be back tomorrow. If you see that they got out of those beds and blew out of there, but if they just got up out of their beds and they fed away, they might be back in that general area that evening. But yeah, if you see really deep hoof prints, like they're really getting out of here, yeah, the odds are they're not coming back anytime soon. So let's see. Would I use a Mystery Ranch pop-up series for an elk hunt? Probably not. I mean, if that's all I had, the answer is yes. I mean, when I first started elk hunting, I was telling the crew here the other day, I had to go dig out some old pictures and show people what I hunted with when I first started elk hunting. My college book bag was made by Jansport. That was my elk hunting pack because I couldn't afford anything else. And I had an old wool Mackinaw sweater that I had from growing up in northern Minnesota. I had some really old wool pants with some suspenders. And I had some old Sorel pack boots that had the real slippery bottoms to them. And I was slipping and falling, but guess what? I still was out elk hunting. I really struggle about people making it almost that hunting is some endeavor about buying expensive equipment. If you have the budget to do it, yeah. And there's no doubt high quality equipment like the stuff we're able to use, it makes you more comfortable. When you're out there 100 days a year, it's definitely going to allow you to probably give it a better effort just because your comfort, you're sleeping better, you're not cold all day long, you're not wet, you're not damp. There's just a lot of things that it helps, but it's not the solution. The best investment I ever made in my elk hunting is right here. I decided I am going to learn everything possible about elk, and I'm going to quit focusing on what gadget or gizmo can I buy that somehow is going to bridge the gap to get me to understand elk. And as quick as I realized that you can't buy your way to elk success, I started having a lot more elk success. So, ever use tarp tent shelters instead of a Hilleberg? Nope. Because when you're my age, and I wish I would have realized this when I was younger. I have a 2-man Nalo G2 Hilleberg tent. I've had it since 2007, and I've got over 400 nights in that tent. And when I get in my tent, I want to be comfortable. And yeah, I carry an extra pound of tent, maybe an extra half pound of my air mattress and other stuff. But nobody sleeps like I do in camp at night. We got all the people who are like, oh, I want this little itty bitty thing, it hardly weighs anything. Well, guess what? You aren't getting any sleep that night. So your hunt sucks. You aren't ready to go in the morning. I'm there, I'm all laid out in my 2-man tent. Everything's dry, big vestibule. And I look like I just stepped out of the spa when I get up in the morning. So, no, I don't do the tarp tents. If it requires a tarp tent, guess what? I'm bringing llama, so I can bring my Hilleberg. So, let's see. Have I ever hunted elk in units 140, 41, and 42 in Colorado? Nope, I haven't. So, Leupold VX3i, or is it worth saving more and going with the VX5 HD? If so, the 56 millimeter or the 44 millimeter? I have 44 millimeters on all of my VX5s, so you're not going to find a scope with better value, and value is the intersection of price and performance. The VX3i is the best value in a rifle scope. I will say that till I'm completely out of breath, and I have a bunch of them. I do like the VX5 HD. It's hard to compare a scope that costs 60% more to a scope that costs 60% less. It's just, there is going to be a slight difference there. So if your budget allows it, please, by all means, buy the VX5 HD and you are going to be really, really happy. But if, you know, you say, hey, all I can afford is the VX3i, don't look back. Buy that and you're going to be really, really pleased. So, New Mexico, Unit 22 or 23, elk thoughts. Never hunted either of them. What is the tag deadline? This is a good one to bring up because it changed this year. What is the tag deadline for non-resident elk tags in Montana? It is April 1st. April 1st instead of March 15th, and online only this year. And that's why they decided we can move it to April 1st, is it's going to be all online, no paper applications, so they don't have to spend all that time processing paper applications. They're going to let us know by April 20th. So we'll see. Randy, did you play any sports as a kid? Yep. Any sport my school had. Do you count beaver trapping as a sport? And muskrat trapping? That was probably the sport I excelled at the most. But that was I didn't do track in the springtime because spring beaver season was open in the springtime. And to get me to run around a track or throw an item through the air or some frisbee looking thing versus going beaver trapping, yeah, I'm going beaver trapping. So I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. Am I hunting in Colorado this year? I might be. We have 2 sweepstakes winners from prior years that I'm taking elk hunting this year on separate hunts. And if they don't draw in Wyoming and they don't draw in New Mexico, we're going to Colorado. So I might be there this year. Let's see. Do I ever wish I had a wood stove in my Hilleberg? Nope, not really. I'm sure it would be nice, but the way that I do my setups, I've never been cold at night. And we've done some of these hunts, let's get down 10 below, a cold tent and 10 below. If you have the right sleeping bag, the right clothing layers, you know how to vent your tent so you aren't getting condensation, all that other stuff. If it gets any colder than that though, I'm not having any fun. Because who wants to get out of that warm sleeping bag in the morning when it's 10 below? Nobody. I'm getting old. Let's see. Trying to think of what would be some good last questions here. You got anything that came up on Instagram that I've missed? Oh yeah, a whole bunch of them came up here. All right, but before we answer the last set of questions here, I want to thank the companies that make it possible. That's who makes this free. Onyx Maps, Go Hunt, Bowtech, Leupold, Gerber Gear, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Tight Spot, Ripcord, Black Gold. And the ones that have promo codes for you are Gerber, gerbergear.com, gohunt.com, onyxmaps.com, and rockymountainhuntingcalls.com. So, you got one that you just think we got to do, Kyler? A whole bunch of them spooled through here from the Instagram page. Oh, my opinions on Montana's new tag regulations. We're going to be able to print out our Montana tags on plain paper. I think it's kind of a bad idea, but if they would do like a lot of other states did and let you print it out on paper, but you had an online validation, then I think it'd be really good. So, but I think we only went part way. We'll see. Maybe there won't be any abuse, but let's face it, we all know that the human condition is that left to themselves, people will abuse a few things. What Leupold spotting scope do you use? We talked about that last year. We used the Sanium SX5s, 80 millimeters. What reticle do I prefer? My reticles on my Leupold scopes are either going to be the duplex or heavy duplex. So, do I ever use elk scent while bow hunting? Nope, I wouldn't waste my money on that. I'd go buy lottery tickets with that money versus, and I don't play the lottery, but that's a better use of your money than cover scents and spray down scents and, sorry. I know people think I'm being a jerk when I say that, but I say it that way because I don't want you to blow your money on that. For elk hunting, it's so active. You're running up and down hills in archery season, and they have such a good nose, you aren't going to fool it. So don't blow your money on those kind of things. Play the wind. Do not let the elk get downwind of you. If that means you got to make a big loop, whatever you got to do, use that to your advantage, not all these phony, fakey other things. So, when does the new season of Fresh Track come out on Amazon Prime? I think I talked to RJ, and we're looking at March 16th. RJ is our production manager here. I think that's what we came up with. Boy, a lot of people are asking about units today, and the unit is. I just will give kind of a general thought on this. What unit you hunt usually is not that important. What is more important is how well you've scouted, researched, and understand the habits of the elk generally, but the habits of the elk specifically in the area that you're hunting. And if you go to any of the state game and fish websites, just about every one of them, free, no charge, will have the harvest information for the unit you're talking about. And if you can't find it there, I know if you're a Go Hunt Insider subscriber, they have it for every unit. So that's what I pay the most attention to. If you just give me a tag, I'm pretty much going to go. I don't get too worked up about what unit it is. Let's see. Tips to keep meat from spoiling. Well, first of all, use the best game bags you can. People ask me, what game bags do I use? I use Caribou game bags. I've been using them for years and years. I don't get it paid a dime by Ted and Sharon and them down in Colorado. They just make the best game bags. It's that simple. Why does everyone copy the Caribou game bags or try their best to copy them? Because that's kind of the standard. So use a really good game bag, a synthetic game bag. When I couldn't afford anything more than a grocery bag, I used, sheets and pillowcases and stuff, and those will work if it's really arid, you get a lot of airflow, and you take care of that meat really quickly. If it's damp, high humidity, it rains, the meat gets wet, cotton is not what you want. So the other part is get it in the shade. Get that animal broken down and cooling as quick as possible. You want airflow going around that meat to cool it off. And we're talking about an elk that has an internal temperature of, I think someone told me 102 degrees. Even if it's 65 degrees out, to get that from 102 to 65, that's a huge temperature change. That's going to help you a ton. And bacteria growth, I think, starts really happening over 50 degrees or 53 degrees, something like that. So if you can, get it someplace in the shade with wind, and then at night, leave it hanging at night in game bags with all the air circulating around it. In the mountains at night, it'll bring that temperature way down below 50 degrees in most instances. So those are the basic principles. And during the day, make sure you have a tarp, a canopy, or a lot of tree cover to keep it in the shade during the day. And remember, what does the air do? The warmest air is the highest and is the lightest and goes highest. The coldest air is heaviest and goes lowest. So if you can, if this is a north slope, you know that's down there is gonna be the colder air. If this is a south facing slope, up here is gonna be the warmest air. So put it on a north facing slope if you can in a little bit of a drainage, because that's gonna accumulate the cooler air. And you'll be able to take a long time or let it hang for a long time without a problem. So, all right, I think that's it for tonight. Hey, Kyler, what are you doing on Monday?
Not a whole lot.
Because I got to be out of town next Wednesday, so what do you say we do this again Monday night?
Sounds good to me.
What is Monday, I don't know, the 2nd? Something like that? Yeah. So next week we'll do it on Monday night, the 2nd. Because my wife and I are going to a concert. And if I didn't take my wife to that concert, she'd throw me out. And if she threw me out, these guys wouldn't have a job. And if they didn't have a job, Kyler wouldn't be here to produce Elk Talk Live for us. So, moral of that story is take your wife to the concert. Thanks for being here. Have a good evening.